for waiting. And it was an interesting time at the airport as we learned about the many delays that were to come before I could make it home. But it's a really interesting time, I would say, in our nation's history. We are just coming off of hearing the State of the Union, and as many of you know, the president came in to tell us about his vision for the country, and a few days later, we learned the actual vision he had for the country. His State of Union, as you know, was filled with lies and misinformation. He made promises to guarantee prosperity for Americans, and what we learned was that he actually has a plan to cut programs like SNAP. He has a plan to pull back on investment for our disabled community. He has a plan to continue to fund the militarization and the advancement of the military budget. He has a plan that doesn't include most of Americans that are struggling, that are barely making it in this country. We hear our colleagues on the other side of the aisle often talk about how our deficit is growing, but we know that the budget that the president put together doesn't do anything to get rid of that deficit. It actually will make it grow. And so I know that currently, as you know, the State of the Union is disconnected, is divided, is disillusioned, and it is as dangerous and disillusioned as the person who's leading it is. And so we get an opportunity to come together as a community throughout this country to make our country less disconnected and united around the commonality of guaranteeing prosperity for all Americans. We get to come together and make sure that all of our communities are safe and no one continues to feel the insult and assault that continuously comes from this administration and this president. We get an opportunity to set a vision for an America that guarantees Medicare for all. For an America that has homes for all, that has the guaranteed promise of housing. We get to have a vision that frees 45 million Americans from the shackles of student debt by canceling out student debt. We get to have a vision that really restores justice in our criminal justice system. We get to have a vision that has our principles and values intact when we engage in foreign policy. This isn't just about getting rid of Trump and standing up to the challenges that come from having a tyrant in the White House. It's about us figuring out what are we willing to do to fight for an America that guarantees a better tomorrow for everyone. So this fight that we're in, it's not about me. It's about fighting for all of us.
Right.
That's right.
And so I am honored to have the privilege of doing the work that I love on behalf of the people that I love every single day in Washington.
We love you.
Thank you. And I I know deeply in my heart what the promise of America could be and what it means for us to fight for that promise. Because that promise was fulfilled for me and for my family. But I know that there are so many people who are being pushed down in our criminal justice system who don't have access as equals because they weren't born in the right zip code, they weren't born into resources, and they might not have been born with less melanin in their skin. And I know that there are so many kids in our schools that are not going to have an education that is equitable and worthy of the one that people should have in the United States of America because of the zip code they were born in and because of the disinvestments that are happening in our communities. And I know that here in America, we should not have veterans, Native Americans, young children living in the sides of the streets as our homeless crisis grows every single day. So I know you will hear the controversial Congress member you sent to Washington. But it turns out that fighting for human rights is controversial in Washington. Turns out wanting to cancel student debt is considered controversial. Turns out getting rid of income inequality is considered controversial in Washington. And turns out that wanting every single person to be seen, for all of our humanity to be recognized, and for every single person, regardless of where they were born and what skin what skin color they might have, or what religion they might practice, deserves their full humanity recognized, is considered controversial in Washington. And so I am glad to be one of those controversial members of Congress. Because if fighting for the fifth and fighting for us and fighting for a better America and a better world is controversial, then sign me up. And so I know you all might have heard that people want to send me back. But we're excited because we are going to get an opportunity to send me back to continue to do the work that we've all been engaged in. Because as much as our State of Union is disconnected, the state of our movement is connected. And our state of movement, the state of our movement, is what is going to continue to send people like me and more people like me to go and fight and make sure that we have the America that will make sure every single person has prosperity. And so I am thankful to all of you for being here, thankful for the opportunity to represent you, and thankful to continue in this fight with you. So the fifth has a lot of talents. I want to give a shout out to the people who have made the beautiful art we are seeing. This is the first time I'm seeing the Fighting for the Fifth logos. So thank you all for doing that. I want to thank my friend Matt, our beautiful bartender. And we also have two talented residents of the Fifth who have serenaded me earlier, but I want them to do it up here because in the Fifth we give people the mic and we Let them shine.
Thank you so much. My name is Magenta Aquarius, and this is
Me, Shastran.
And after we heard Ilhan got stuck on this flight, we're like, we have to do something special for her. So we wrote her a little song. And if you catch on to the lyrics, you're more than welcome to sing along. Because our lovely person of honor took a flight from Washington, D.C. to be with us tonight. Every time she speaks, the whole crowd delights. Thanks for keeping up the fight and keeping us inside. You're a shooting star and a guiding light. Ilhan, oh my, you're a Hollywood Walk of Fame superstar. Ilhan, oh my, your political campaign has gone so far. Ilhan, oh my, you're a Hollywood Walk of Fame superstar. Ilhan, oh my, your political campaign has gone so far. Ilhan, Omar.
All right, enjoy yourselves. Thank you.